It's the Bush League Mud Show.
It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
Yo, what is going on? Is another edition of the Bush League Mud Show. Slade
PJ.
coming at you, episode 32. We're coming at you a couple of days later than usual with the end of week, the weekend review show. So we're really going to be cramming a lot, and we're trying not to make this episode too long, but we got to give you the rundown from SmackDown from this past week, some Rampage, and then Monday Night Raw was earlier tonight, the same night as we're recording. But episode 2, real quick, make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and be sure to also follow us. Promise we'll follow back on social media at Bush League MS Pod. Episode 32, man, what will we be talking about? Well, big news from last week. A lot of it surrounded Walter in WWE, which it seems that Walter is no more. No. We'll also be talking about some of that smoke, a lot of smoke that Bully Ray got over his, what a lot of people felt were very controversial remarks in regards to a returning Jon Moxley. We'll talk to you about someone who's trying to seek a release from WWE and someone who re-signed last week with WWE. Yeah. WarnerMedia a little pissed off with Vince McMahon and his company over their shenanigans once again, and tons more. Well, Walter, let's kick it off. This was something that we noticed last week, and this was the main event match, NXT 2.0, Roderick Strong versus Walter. The match was as good as we all felt that it could be for a main event for NXT 2.0. Two crafty vets going at it, and throughout the match, he was referred to as Walter.
Yeah, everything was normal.
Everything was normal until the very end of the match, where he took some time to grab the mic and talk and refer to himself as Gunther. Now, he pronounced it the actual more proper way. Yes, in the ring. Now, of course, this is something, now I will say, with Walter was not an overly intimidating name.
No.
To say the least. But when you look at him, and you just get used to calling him Walter. It's just something that you just settled in with. Mm-hmm. You just, all right, took it for what it's worth. Okay, it works for him. The Gunther name, I'm sure eventually will work as long as they have stuck with the now current continuing plan of cutting off the Stark, because WWE had recently filed a trademark for the name of Gunther Stark. Once people start Googling this, and Gunther Stark was Googled, it turned out that this was the same name of a person who had served as a Nazi Germany military commander back in World War II. So the company, of course, got tons of backlash for this all over social media. And the website since then has now updated Walter's profile, where he will just be going by the Gunther name from here on out. Now, this is a company, dude, that is quick to cut off last names to begin with. They just want to refer to everyone as one name. This is a company that scrubs. They're constantly scrubbing. Remember, there was the interview that Triple H did when he was constantly being hounded about putting China in the WWE Hall of Fame. And you remember his comments about they didn't want to take the chance. They didn't want to take that chance of little girls and people around the world Googling China with the chance of her extracurricular outside the ring activities, the porn that she did outside the company later on during her life. Mm-hmm. They didn't want that to become an issue. They didn't want that to be something that people could just easily pull up in Google. Well, then how the fuck do you explain this, PJ? You're telling me that WWE, they have the cream of the crop. This is talked about ubiquitously throughout the wrestling business. People always talk about, regardless of their experience with the company, this is a company that has the best top of the line of everything. So you're telling me that the people who were behind this name change didn't scrub, didn't do their research, didn't do anything with this name before we just jumped the gun and decided to not only change Walter's name, but change it to something that got them this kind of backlash?
Apparently not. I'm
sorry for going.
When I first heard about it, it was just like, Stark. I'm like, okay, Avengers? I mean, is this Tony Stark? I mean, what are we trying to do here? Because then, when the outrage, when people were Googling it and showing the screenshot of this is actually what this guy was pretty up there in Nazi army. Not good. Exactly. I don't know. I'm guessing somebody did know what they were doing. They probably knew the direction they wanted to go in, and they probably were hoping nobody else would find out in 2021, 2022, got a little lazy, and maybe did not report their findings back to the old man in charge right now. I don't know, or whoever the hell is in charge of NXT now. This is kind of a embarrassing look for whoever the hell okayed it and who the ultimate decision maker was.
Yeah.
Not good. So,
this was, of course, criticized by various individuals. Cody Rhodes used it in his promo last week on Dynamite.
Well, Cody's an idiot.
To kind of poke some jabs at it. Bully Ray, who we'll talk about a little later, he gave some criticism to it. And then you had Finn Balor, who actually was in support in terms of not the Gunther start, but just the name change in general by saying, hey, originally people hated Finn too.
Correct.
And it ended up working out, which did it. Because we're going to talk about Finn Balor in a little bit too. But, Finn Balor showed some support to it. Look, as far as changing Walter's name, I'm usually, kind of poking the bear when it comes to the name changes. It's not even the name changes when they get to Vince. It is the stupid fucking names that are given.
Well, the whole Gunther thing, it makes no sense.
Now, I'm all for the name change because Walter is his real name.
Correct.
And he probably did not want them owning that. That is his real name. Yep. If he were to leave the company and go work somewhere else, what, you tell me you can't fucking use your own actual birth name? This is the same company. People have been talking about these bad names. This isn't something that just happened within the last 5-10 years with NXT or whatever. There are the stories about Steve Austin before they came up with the Stone Cold gimmick.
Yeah.
These stupid fucking names that were thrown out there, the McFreeze and all of that other
Chili
shit.
McFreeze, yep.
Daniel Bryan's told stories about when he came in and they needed to change the name from Bryan Danielson. Some of the stupid names that were pitched to him that he was like, no. Mm-hmm. So this is something, they've just got a name problem, period. They've just got a problem when it comes to just figuring out names. And I'm all for throwing things against the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
But some of the names, even Vince, I don't know maybe if he's looking for the opposition, whoever the worker, whoever the talent is, to try to come up with something better, maybe giving them some input on what they should be. But some of these names, again, this has been going back. I mean, the Austin thing, that's 25 years now. Or maybe a little bit longer. Austin came in around about 96.
And it wasn't even came up by anyone in WWE. It was his wife at the time.
Yeah, it was his wife, his ex-wife that gave him the idea. So this is something that's been going on for a long time. But it seems that Walter last week was the beginning. He will be full-time in NXT 2.0 for the foreseeable future until they finally make the decision on whether he should be at the main roster or not. So this was something he was originally against altogether. He did not want to come to the States, but he ended up separating, getting a divorce from his wife, and now he's dating someone in NXT UK, and now he's open to it. And now they have him here, and we'll see where it goes with Walter. Gunther.
Will be Walter again when he leaves the company, and he'll make more money on bookings because they want Walter and not Gunther. So he could still make out in the long run on this.
Mustafa Ali, he has, over the last couple of weeks, it's been thrown out there that he's been seeking a release by WWE because of an argument over a creative direction. He and Vince McMahon, and he's just pretty much had it. He's ready to go. Apparently, he only requested 1 day off for paternity leave, and they've just kept him off TV ever since. Last that we had seen of Mustafa Ali, he had lost to Drew McIntyre. He had cut this promo about the New America.
Yes.
We had talked about this a little bit. We weren't necessarily in favor of it just because we had gone through something where the company bowed down to the network almost 20 years ago over Muhammad Hassan.
Yeah.
This was something that we got a promo out of it, and then we never, just like the Elias stuff, we never heard anything else about it. Now, Mustafa Ali, the update on that is that, at least up to this moment, the company has denied his request for release. He went on Twitter. He put up a cryptic, I guess you consider it a cryptic tweet. It's basically just a photo out of the Batman out of the Dark Knight film from 2008 that shows Heath Ledger's Joker standing in front of this big pile of money that's set on fire. So that's, I guess, some message he stated. It's not about money. It's about sending a message. Everything burns. So I don't know how you feel about it, dude, but with Mustafa Ali, if the guy he wants to leave, this is the company who released over 80 talents from the roster last year alone. And then 2020, that's not even including what they did in 2020. And a lot of those people, I'm sure, did not want to leave, but they were future endeavored. You have someone that you don't want to do anything with. You clearly don't think that you can make money with them. We haven't seen them on TV in months. They want to leave, but we don't want to release them.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
How was Bray Wyatt released? Did he go on Twitter and say, I want out of this thing?
No.
I'm done? No, he did it behind the scenes. He did it with them. I think their issue is if you make it a big public affair and you're trying to draw attention to yourself.
Force the hand.
They're not going to go for it. They're going to play hardball. They're going to dig their heels in. I think I don't know what angle he is going for. If it was trying to draw more publicity and force them to say, yeah, we're not doing with you anything, release him and all that. I think if it was behind the scenes, had a little talk and discussion, maybe their tune would be different on it. But I think because it's out in the open, it's public like that. And we've seen other, the wrestlers try to do that in the past too. They tried to do the Twitter route, and it just did not work for a while. Then eventually they would let go. I think for now, they're going to dig their heels in. Who knows? In 2 weeks, they might be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean,
we got nothing going on.
We saw this with Grand Metal League, right? He had requested to release. They didn't do it on but he was a part of the next cuts eventually. Yeah. So it's out there. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah. Mustafa Ali probably will not make it into the summer on this talent roster. Yeah. He'll probably be released by then, but they are going to.
Well, the Mania cuts will be coming in April, so I'm sure he'll be part of that if he's not.
Of course, a pissing match, and the company, I guess, wants to send a message of their own that you don't dictate it. You're under contract with us. We'll decide when you're released.
I think that's the whole thing, is if he did it behind the scenes, I think they may have had a mutual parting of ways eventually. But now, I think they can't be looked to be weak, so they'll try to dig in.
Someone who is not going to be leaving anytime soon, at least until the company, hopefully not, but these contract extensions in WWE, they really don't mean shit because as we've seen with Anderson and Gallows, you can sign a brand new 5-year deal and be cut. Yep. All within 12 months. Yeah. Sami Zayn has reportedly re-signed with the company. This is said to be a multi-year deal. This is according to Fightful Select. And there's no word on the exact length of the deal. It is said that it could be possibly a 3-year deal that some of the other talents, including his BFF Kevin Owens, signed just last month. Good move by the company. Good move by Zayn, I think, to stay. I think he is who he is in the company. He's serving his purpose right now. I think what he's doing currently, I don't really see too many, if any at all, on the roster that can be involved in this little angle with Johnny Knoxville and make it work. I'm not saying it's spectacular, but it doesn't offend and it doesn't make you change the channel. I think this is perfect for him. I love him as a heel, that annoying, great, obnoxious heel. He's good for that. And I'm gonna call it right now. I'm going to say that Sami Zayn is my dark horse to win Money in the Bank.
Okay.
I'm gonna call that. I'm gonna say Sami Zayn right now is my dark horse to win Money in the Bank later on this year.
Well, I mean, him and his buddy Brock, they're Canadian alpha males. So I mean, just think about the stuff he's been involved in the last year. I mean, with that program with Brock, they're throwing him in the Knoxville stuff. The whole conspiracy theory, they put him up there with Logan Paul when they bring in celebrities and all that stuff. You can't say he hasn't been doing a hell of a job with the shit they've given him. He has gotten it over. For the most part, he has done a great job. of getting these programs over that you would look at paper and you're like, wow, this is just shit. No one should be doing this. He finds a way to do it. He's worth the money. I could see that. Yeah, definitely Money in the Bank. I think you have to elevate him after this because you don't have him in that Intercontinental Championship picture for too long. Maybe give him another shot. I mean, they joked about the title shot for day one when Brock gave him the whole, well, just do it tonight, buddy, so then he could, you got this. So, I mean, there were overtures that they want to push him up to that level to be one of those heels up there, depending on whoever the champ is. So, yeah, and I think it's good money. It was a good move for him. I know some people were saying, well, go to AEW, you could do all this. Folks, AEW is starting to get a little backed up on the roster. I know some
and
of those
I think he definitely understands. You can't tell me he didn't think about that.
Yeah, I mean, plus you have less kind of Showtime opportunity. I know they have 2 YouTube shows, but you only get 1 hour on TNT. You get about 2 hours now on Dynamite, so that would definitely be cutting into the time.
WarnerMedia officials reportedly not happy with WWE over some recent comments, and this happened a little over a week ago. We didn't cover it on the last podcast for episode 31, but we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll summarize this. This was something the Toronto Star had published. It was an article over the weekend looking at the competition between AEW and WWE. This was the previous weekend.
Yeah.
So, and this had included some comments by a spokesperson from WWE where they took shots at the violence on AEW programming, specifically the street fight from the New Year's Smash edition of AEW Rampage. That was the match of Anna Jay and Tay Conti versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford. And the representative said that, quote, if you look at the gory self-mutilation that bloodied several women in the December 31st event on TNT, it quickly becomes clear that these are very different businesses. We had an edgier product in the Attitude Era, and in a 2022 world, we don't believe that type of dangerous and brutal display is appealing to network partners, sponsors, venues, children, or the general public as a whole. Now, the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they had threw out there that WarnerMedia was not very pleased with these comments by the company of WWE, and WarnerMedia officials reportedly saw their quote as an attempt as a personal attack against the company in an attempt to hurt their advertising sales. PJ, I guess and we can talk about this quickly, but this wouldn't be the first time, right? There was the issue over the whole Domino's thing. There was reported that the company had reached out and tried to put a stain on there. And regardless of what you felt about the Jericho-Nick Gage match, the company, I do truly believe that they probably did try to put a stain on AEW and hurt the advertising a little bit. They probably did. But make no mistake, while they're trying to sit here in 2022 and take the high moral fucking ground, you know damn well if not for the sponsors that Vince had been trying to get on board for years, the Mattels, you name it, all of these Fortune 500 companies that are now advertising with the company, which morphed them into the quote-unquote PG product that it is today. You know damn well if not for that, if Vince McMahon saw it as an opportunity to gain an edge on the competition, he also would be doing the same kind of damn matches.
He might be.
He would.
Yeah.
He would. And the only thing I could think of is that they're crying foul on this because they're in a position where they don't feel that they can do it. If they can't do it, then you're a threat to them.
I guess.
I don't know. Your thoughts on it?
It's whatever WarnerMedia thinks. I mean, if that's what they think, that's great. But then if you have the opening program this week, guy blasting off F-bomb and shit-bomb right away to start the show off. So, I mean, that does not help when you're trying to make a point saying, well, they're trying to undercut our businesses and all that stuff, but then you have talents just going off the wire here, which I understand Tony Khan was not happy with Jon Moxley about the comments. From what I understand, there was a talking to about that. So I don't know if that came from up above or not, but when you have those comments crippled in here, obviously WWE, yes, they're just going to throw this stuff out there to whoever to say, oh, yeah, watch this. But I'm with you. Yeah, especially back in the, Attitude Area with those matches with Vince. Yeah, he would have done stuff like that.
We put Mae Young through a table. We put Mae Young through a table. We did angles where guys who were actually fighting addiction demons, we played it into storyline. Well, we had Hawk fall off a damn Jumbotron.
Well, we had segments go 3 minutes too long, and we had lesbians getting power bombed and beat the shit out of in the middle of the ring.
I just to sit here and look again. I just feel, regardless of how you feel about what AEW that tag match that happened on New Year's Eve, it was a match that I could have done without. Primarily because I was just tired of those two parties still going at it.
Correct.
Like that. Yeah. That whole feud should have been blown off well before. It didn't need to go to that kind of a match. But
quite frankly, how many people watched that on New Year's Eve? I mean, you really had to bring that up because I'm sure the viewership on New Year's Eve for Rampage, I'm sorry, it had to be down there. I mean, it had to be in the fives. It wasn't well watched, and for them to maybe blow that up in the paper.
453,000, if you must know, ballpark-wise.
Yeah, I'm sure in the demo they won it on New Year's Eve. No, they probably didn't, but I mean...
Now, to also mention the gory self-mutilation part, that was actually thrown into the freestyle rap of Max Caster and the Acclaimed right before their match against Sting and Darby Allin last week.
I'll give more material.
So, just so we throw that out there. What else can we talk about? WWE said to be disappointed with NXT 2.0 so far in the first 4 months of the rebrand.
You mean USA? Yeah.
So, 4 months, PJ, they rebranded this thing. They changed the whole look of the show. We got the greenest of the rookies from the PC. They've been given live TV time over veterans.
Yeah.
Ratings have fallen even more since the launch of the new concept. So, with this whole thing, according to WrestleVotes, they put something out there about WWE, said to be disappointed with NXT so far in the first 4 months. It says, quote, initially WWE is said to be disappointed with NXT 2.0 in its first 4 months. They tweeted, they said, source said they thought more fans would gravitate towards the newer stars quickly than they have. Yeah. Could it just be too much too fast? Either way, I don't expect any changes to the concept just yet. Well, the big change, dude, I think is you're going to see, this would be the smart thing to do, and I've talked about this before with you, either on the mic or off the mic. This needs to be strictly on Peacock for the time being.
Yeah, this is not.
This is currently on TV because it's advertising dollars and it's 2 more hours of television on a major network for WWE. Nick Khan responded. He said, we think it's all starting the way that we wanted it to start.
No, it's not.
So we wanted a younger, fresher in-ring approach. We think we have it. You've already seen some talent from the new NXT elevated to the main roster. There's going to be more of that.
He forgot he cut most of that talent.
Used to be these kind of systems. We never saw them on TV. If we would have based this off, could you have imagined 2003, a developmental show where you saw every week a not yet experienced Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Dave Bautista, John Cena, and then they get to the main roster, you would have already been burned out by them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay? Part of these guys' legacies is the impact, in most cases, of half those guys at least, and I speak of Lesnar and I speak of Cena, when they made it to the main roster. Cena with the ruthless aggression thing on Kurt Angle. That was the first time you saw John Cena, unless you were in Louisville and you were watching OVW there.
Yes.
But other than that, you didn't know who John Cena was. You didn't know who Brock Lesnar was until the night after WrestleMania, where Paul Heyman comes down with him and calls him the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see him. Randy Orton, they brought along slow. Dave Bautista, they brought him along originally as the Deacon.
Yes, they did.
For Devon.
For Devon, yeah.
And you got to immerse yourself in these characters and watch them elevate over time.
Yeah.
We're showing guys on the same channel just the night after for 2 hours, and then we call them to the main roster, and we wonder why they're dead in the water before they even really have a chance to start. Because you're already there's no element of surprise anymore.
No.
Why would you do that and cannibalize your own product by putting green talent who aren't ready yet for live TV on this show? And then our way of trying to cope with it is pulling an AJ Styles on the show. Before he was released, the plan was that they were going to put Jeff Hardy on there. Yeah. They have Riddle on there, you know. And guys who shouldn't even be there right now that should be on the main roster, we're keeping them there to kind of work with the LA Knight, you know.
Yeah.
So your take on the company being reportedly disappointed that this show, I don't know what the hell they thought. I really don't
either. I have no idea either, because now I will give them, they have one big star. We all know who that is, with Rex Steiner. I mean, he's Braun Breaker, whatever the hell they're going to rename him when he goes up to the level. He's the deal. So I'll give him that. But other than that, there's nothing, none of this new talent. There's nothing that they thought they would have. And it's not like they have a bunch of Rex Steiners on that roster. I mean, they don't have guys like that with that lineage. That probably training right off the bat.
That look like a star off the bat.
I mean, that's the only guy where I could see if you thought you had like the lineup you had. Maybe that's if they're going back. If they thought they had that Lesnar, Orton, Cena, Batista class, they had these classes and they just weren't turning out these guys or something like that. Maybe they're wondering, well, why aren't these guys turning out like they did back then? Well, we know why, because the training system's different and who was training them and all that other stuff.
And you're showing them on TV every week
them on
already.
TV right away, and people are already know who they are. It's no surprise, like you said, when you go on the main roster. The only surprise is they change their music up, their appearance up, or chop their name up on the main roster, and that's not how you make a star anymore.
Well, also what doesn't help out the product either is when you hear stories like this, that reportedly Vince McMahon has given up on pushing Finn Balor. He sees him no more as a mid-card talent. This was, according to WrestleNews.com, there was no long-term plans to push Finn Balor as a top star anymore in WWE. He was moved into the spot that Jeff Hardy had and now is being used to get younger talent over. There was reportedly, PJ, a pitch to turn him heel, but the idea was pitched weeks ago. Nothing came of it. It was said that Vince McMahon has just never seen Finn Balor as anything more than just that, a mid-card guy. That just tells you right off the bat that aside from taking over the reins of NXT 2.0 when Triple H was going through his health issues, Vince McMahon absolutely did not ever fucking watch NXT. Clearly.
No, not at all.
Clearly.
No. And, Finn is in his 40s now. He wasn't a spring chicken when he came over.
He's 40, but he still looks phenomenal.
He's still looking great.
Still looks
He's
like someone.
around.
Oh, yeah, there's this thing about merchandise.
Yeah, and he moves it. He was the number one mover in NXT.
They said this guy was making seven figures in developmental just off of his merchandise alone.
So I guess to help young talent get over, I guess it's a guy you'd want to use, but you still should be pushing him towards the top. He has got the namesake. He's got the following. People believe in him. He gets the pops. That entrance people love.
This was your very first Universal Champion.
So you had... Well, this shows you, too, how much influence Triple H had at that time to now.
Compared to now.
And unfortunately, they're not listening to him at all. And we're going to see how hurt they are by this in the end. I mean, this whole rip everything that he even touched away thing is this. And this was one of the main guys he first got over to, help him revolutionize NXT and help with those things.
Here is something that might excite you. It's reported, PJ, that The Undertaker will be making an appearance at the Royal Rumble this Saturday.
Okay.
He is slated to be in attendance, but it is said that it is obviously out of support for his wife,
Yes.
Michelle McCool, who will be competing in the Women's Royal Rumble match.
Yes.
He will not be performing. Now, that could always change. Vince could
Yeah,
maybe
I'm
have some damn
sure.
idea when he
Yep.
gets to the arena, but as of now, he'll just be in St. Louis watching as a fan, supporting his wife.
In the back, or are they going to show him on camera? I think they just have him in the back.
You just have him in the back, right?
Well, now, also, there was some special requests made to have the daughter come walk down with mom, too, which now half the female talent have asked to do the same, because I think the Bellas also, Brie wanted to do it with her daughter, walk down the aisle, too. So, I mean, after that request got out there, I think half the female talents asked if their daughters could walk down the aisle with them, too, for the Rumble match. So
Well, can their daughters
know what's
lay in
gonna
a
happen.
stiff right hand like Taker's daughter?
maybe.
According to him, she's stiff just
Pretty
like her
stiff.
mom.
Yes. So we'll see how that happens with the entrance. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be in the back. I did say it would be cool if they did a tribute to him somehow. And maybe they're saving that for Mania when it's in front of 100,000 people in his home state of Texas. The way he went out Survivor Series, and yeah, it was all weird, and they had the hologram Paul Bearer thing and all that, which was all right, but again, no crowd was there. This guy deserves a send-off with 100,000 people chanting his name and everything else. So hopefully they can do something like that.
Well, maybe they'll do it in Saudi Arabia. If you're talking 100,000 people, they are set. This is
In case
official
if it's
now
pumping up a concert for Pitbull.
for Pitbull. Yeah. It is official, PJ. In cooperation with WWE, the General Entertainment Authority has announced that the Elimination Chamber live event will be held at what is being called the world's largest pillarless Superdome in Jeddah on Saturday, February 19th. So,
Pillarless Superdome. Huh?
yes. So,
Well, where's the Superdome with the pillars? Damn. Apparently they've got a bigger building there that has pillars.
there you go. So nothing more on that. Rey Mysterio got in the news over the last week as he was officially named the cover star for WWE 2K22. Of course, people feel that this is something they can compare to the Madden video games because there was some criticism over Rey being on the front. Look, what is it, about 25, 30 years of Rey Mysterio just around in general?
Yeah.
His career is very revered. He still has a household name. This guy still moves merchandise.
Yeah.
He hasn't been the main event picture in a long while. I mean, I guess you could say, if you want to count the thing with he and Brock from 2020.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah.
But an iconic legacy, an extensive list of honors, accolades, and I'm cool with that. Becky's been on one. Roman's been on one. Rollins has been on one. And they missed out on 2K21. There was no 2K21. They took a year off. It's back. I saw the commercial. The commercial, gets you a little hyped to buy it, and the graphics look okay. Now, I'm not sure how the gameplay. Hopefully the gameplay does well, but I got no problem with this.
No.
Rey Mysterio, the colorful mask. He looks like someone still, and kids gravitate to that. That's who this game is geared for.
Yep.
Geared to. Your kids play the 2K games.
Yes, they do. And my kid said for Christmas, the one action figure he wanted was Rey Mysterio.
Well, there you go.
I mean, that's the thing. He's got a following with the kids, and definitely with the video game, he hasn't been on it before. And you can do so many story modes with him during his career. Shit, you can go back to the Nitro days and have some of those matches and bring those out in some of the story mode games and all that. So, I mean, there's a lot to work with Rey Mysterio. For the people bitching and moaning about it, who else would you want on there? I mean, they've run through everyone else.
Or
in the
they've
top
released them.
stores. Or released them, and they can't have them on the game anymore. So, yeah. For now, I guess maybe if you had a gripe about AJ Styles should be on there because, he's been carrying him, for the last 5 years. Okay, maybe. But I think it's career achievement award for Rey, and he deserves it.
All right, we'll run down quick because we got 3 shows we're going to fit into this episode of 32. WWE SmackDown from last Friday. This was centered around the title match between Reigns and Rollins that will be going down this weekend at the Rumble. Show opened with Jimmy and Jay praising Reigns and his record-setting run as the WWE Universal Champion. And the Usos also had recently eclipsed their own record as the longest-reigning SmackDown Tag Champs, too. Rollins came out. Yes, they did, apparently. Rollins came out, cut the celebration short, and he remarked that Reigns owes his success to the Usos when it comes to the bloodline. He said he owes his success to the Usos the same way that the Shield served as Reigns' pedestal. And Rollins referred to their Shield alum, Dean Ambrose, as Mox during this promo. So, of course, people got to talking on that. I think we even made a comment about it on our Twitter, Bush League MS Pod, by the way. So Rollins challenged Reigns to a wager, and it was going to be a main event match, tag team match. It was going to be Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. And Rollins, a partner of his choosing. Now, I just gave it away, but he said that he was going to pick a partner to beat the Usos on SmackDown. And if they won, that the Twins were going to be barred from ringside for the Rumble. The Usos gladly accepted the challenge before Reigns could reply. So this didn't, the tribal chief, argued that no one would team with Rollins. So, of course, Kevin Owens came out, which even was a double stab of the fact. We saw contradictions all throughout this show in terms of Raw stars coming over to SmackDown. This draft, once again, it don't mean shit.
Nothing
Nothing
means anything.
Shit.
Just forget about it.
No, so Rollins' current best friend, Kevin Owens, came out, and there you go. So you got that, the clause that's in place. And halfway through the program, Rollins also told Caleb Braxton how the rewards of beating the Usos outweigh the risk, and which if they lost, then Rollins would not get his match at all for the title.
Okay.
So, so that was the stipulation. They ended up winning, but they didn't win by pinfall. They won by DQ when the Usos' cousin, Roman Reigns, decided to, after a curb stomp by Rollins, he ran into the ring and nailed Rollins with a Superman punch that earned Rollins and Owens the DQ victory. And that allowed Rollins to lead the crowd in chanting his song before, the crowd was chanting the song during the match. It was actually a pretty solid match. It was a match that you expected them to have. But there you go. Reigns basically out to prove that he doesn't need his cousins to take care of Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. So there you go. I thought the match was solid. I thought they actually, compared to the other title match, I thought so far the last several weeks, or at least since this has been thrown out there that it's going to be Rollins and Reigns, I feel like they've done a pretty good job of building it towards the Rumble with the limited time they've had. Yeah.
I think it's been a pretty good build for what they, like you said, the time they had. Rollins has been in some creative finishes here lately with him and Owens, with the DQs to not, try to screw the other guys over and whatnot, or to get involved in matches because of DQ finishes. So they've been kind of creative with that. And here again, to get the Usos barred from ringside at the Rumble match, it worked.
Also pretty cool, too. A side note that they also made mention they had Rollins constantly poking and picking on Reigns for the fact that he's been unable to beat him in past title matches, too.
Yeah.
So, never mind the chicken shit cashing in Money in the Bank at Mania.
Hey, that was the ultimate. It was the ultimate.
What else happened on SmackDown? Well, we had Kofi Kingston getting his win back against Bad Cat Moss. He defeated him, landed the Trouble in Paradise. He was by himself the previous week. Xavier Woods, he's out injured. Mm-hmm. So, again, the draft don't mean shit because Kingston had his New Day buddy Big E come out to help even things so Corbin wouldn't get involved in this match. Afterwards, Big E delivered the big ending to Moss. Also in this, we had Aaliyah defeating Natalya by DQ. We had Summer Rae. They mentioned the fact that Summer Rae was in the crowd and
She's
mention
a
that
legend.
Apparently Summer Rae is now a legend.
I didn't know that.
They wanted to throw that out there. She's also from the Nashville area. They may mention that. That's where SmackDown was, by the way. Was in
a lot of cameos.
Yep. Absolutely. So we got Aaliyah defeating Natalya by DQ. There was an attack on Aaliyah, and then the Protector that we haven't seen in several weeks, Xia Li, rushed in to make the save. So there you go.
We didn't do the Marvel entrance, did we? That's right.
We did.
That's right, we did.
And the crowd was not into it.
No.
I don't think the crowd cares already. They don't care about this.
Not this.
No.
They didn't tell the story good
It's
enough.
a little, yeah. We have Viking Raiders defeating the team of Los Lotharios of Garza and Humberto. We had Charlotte Flair in a match with Naomi over the title. Last-minute change to this match. This was a rematch that had been granted by Adam Pearce. So Sonya had nothing to do with that. But at the last minute, Sonya Deville pulled the Nashville screw job. Well, number one, she was made the special referee for this match. She exited the ring to avoid counting a 6-second long pinfall from Naomi. She ended up ringing the bell before Naomi could tap to the figure 8. So that's how this match ended. Later in the show, we saw Eric Bischoff. He made a surprise appearance. He's in the back. He's talking to Adam Pearce. And Deville was then informed that she will likely face down Naomi one-on-one as a consequence of her abuse of power and her interference in the match.
So Bischoff getting a little more screen time here every now and then. We had him involved with the Miz wedding. Now we bring him back for this. I mean, he's playing both companies pretty good right now, getting appearances.
He's got a sweet gig there. Sami Zayn. He got another In Zayn sequel, attempting to recreate some of the stunts that Johnny Knoxville had done during his early Jackass days. This didn't end well for Zayn, as he ended up at the very end of it being tased by Knoxville.
Okay.
Yeah. We had Sheamus defeating Ricochet, and then we also had Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura in the back meeting Jeff Jarrett.
That was guitar playing skills. That's right. And Jarrett ahead of the GCW appearance. So I mean, he got some little plug, not plugging it on there, but you saw him and you knew he was going to be there Sunday. WWE Raw from January 24th. This was built around the two title matches between the men's and the women's. Brock Lesnar taking on Bobby Lashley, and Becky Lynch versus Doudrop. Well, let's dissect this a little bit. Raw's in Toledo. This is your go-home show. You start this show off with a weigh-in segment that was not advertised. No.
A weigh-in segment that, based on the way that they started this thing off and the way that it was done, it didn't matter to them, so why the fuck should it have mattered to you? We got the show opening, MVP Lashley, they come out first, followed by Heyman and Lesnar. Lesnar comes out. He's got on jeans, a couple of shirts, some cowboy boots. We're doing the weigh-in, and Corey Graves and everyone's making mention that it's not proper attire for a weigh-in.
Yeah.
And so Lesnar says to Graves, so you want me to get naked for you? Which Graves immediately said no. Anyways, we do the weigh-in, and Lashley is announced at 273 pounds. And I'll tell you, Bobby Lashley, this guy, the work ethic and discipline this guy has on his body, this guy looks phenomenal.
He does.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Lesnar, with everything on, he gets weighed in at...
He took the cowboy hat off.
He took the cowboy hat off.
He said, Paul, hang on to it.
That brought him down to 286.
Yes.
Lashley told Lesnar that he wasn't taking the situation seriously because he knows that Lashley won't take his WWE Championship on Saturday. Lesnar responded by telling everyone to imagine the headlines on Sunday, saying that there was a new reigning defending WWE champion before calling Lashley once again Bobby Who. Mm-hmm. And then Lesnar walked off laughing. So again, we do it again where we're not making, and MVP actually he and Heyman, they did their thing on the mic, But I think that was the part that I feel we were a little ripped off on in this angle, was the mic work to help sell and promote this match between MVP and Heyman. That was the only, and both times they were face-to-face in the ring, this thing ended with Lesnar walking off laughing and Lashley with nothing to say.
But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that because we didn't.
It must mean that Lashley's winning at the Rumble.
We didn't have the typical, they're going to touch and beat the shit out of each other, and then you have nothing for the match. Now you have this where they've been telling the story, that Brock is just blatantly disrespecting. He's not even thinking Lashley has anything on him. So now in the match, if Lashley comes out and just beats the living piss out of Brock, I mean, it shows that, yes, this guy pent up. There's some emotion there. He wants to win the damn thing. It's serious to him. Wants to make Brock respect him. I can get into that. And, yeah, I think the way this is going, it's got to be Lashley winning here, or somehow, if it doesn't happen here, it's Elimination Chamber or whatever. But, yeah, I think it's coming off of Brock with how they're building this up.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say, even though the Usos are barred from ringside for the Reigns-Rollins match, they are not barred from the Lesnar-Lashley match. Mm-hmm. I'm going to predict that the Usos interfering in that match, costing Lesnar the match.
Yeah,
Lashley wins the belt.
Yeah.
Lashley can take that into the Elimination Chamber. They can decide what they want to do with that belt going into Mania, because you'll have 6 opponents in that match. Mm-hmm. Lesnar will somehow get himself into the Rumble match. It could be at the expense of Sami Zayn. He will end up pulling a card, and he will end up in the Rumble later on that night. So I'm going to assume this match has got to be going on super early.
And maybe that's why he's doing the whole Bobby Who thing. Because then after that, if he does that, then he could say, well, I don't want to go against you. You're not – I want the big match. This is the match everyone wants, me and Roman. So, I mean, they could – maybe that's why they're doing the underlying thing. I mean, not the shit on Lashley like that, but maybe that's what they're going for. Yeah.
On the women's side of things, we got Raw Women's Champ Becky Lynch and Doudrop. They participated in the split-screen dueling video interview that I just absolutely hated this, and it had nothing to do with the ladies. I thought, promo-wise, I thought that they were both fine. I'll tell you here in a little bit what I had the issue with, and you'll probably agree. Maybe you thought something else was wrong with it. But Lynch, she talked about how she paved the way for Doudrop, as well as pointing out the guts that it took that she handpicked a powerhouse opponent to defend her title against at the Royal Rumble. Doudrop responded back by claiming that Lynch just picked the new girl because she thought it'd be an easy win. Now, that followed up with Lynch telling Doudrop that she should thank her for picking her. Now, this led to Doudrop getting up, taking off the cordless or the wireless mics, is storming off the interview, and then goes into the room where Lynch was at, and then they brawl before being broken up. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, if we were going to sit here and do this split-screen interview, if we were going to have them brawl, then why did we sit there and give this illusion they were separated via saddle? Yes, why did we do that dumb shit? I didn't understand it at all. I thought that was some straight-up dumb, goofy shit, and made the gals, unfortunately, look bad in this segment.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything to look bad. I just thought the idea was dumb. Why have them in separate rooms to do the interview if they were just going to end up in the same room throwing blows?
Yeah, you don't have to touch. Yeah, they've already touched. They've done things. I know Doudrop did the splash on her last week. Just, and like you said, it was just dumb to have her storm into the other room, find her. Well, then any other person could find these people when they're doing these interviews.
Think about that. Sense. The weigh-in segment at the beginning and then this segment. This is your go-home show to the Rumble. I thought they poorly executed this. I thought it was a very weak episode and one of the weaker ones in recent memory going into a big pay-per-view
premier event.
What else happened on this show? We had Bianca Belair in action against Queen Zelina. So the KOD was hit on her. Bye-bye to her. United States Championship match. Kevin Owens defeated Damian Priest via disqualification. That allowed Priest to retain the title. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to think, they're really giving Owens to Priest right now. I don't think it'll be Owens that will take the United States title off of Priest. I do think they will get it off of him in time for the summer for him to get into that world title picture.
Yeah.
You know who I'm thinking? I'm thinking Austin Theory might be the
it
guy to
has to
take
be.
it off.
Yeah.
I think Theory will have a strong showing in the Rumble. He won't win it. I think the way that you've given him so much screen time with Vince over the last month or so would tell me that maybe he draws a decent number, maybe the middle of the pack, and maybe you could have Austin Theory get all the way into the final 5.
Yeah.
If Santino Marella could finish in the top 2 one year, then
maybe
why not have?
Yeah, and like maybe this is the Cena path they have for him. Cena's first championship was the U.S. title, so maybe that's the path Vince likes to send these guys on that he really likes. So that could be it.
Owens, he had won the non-title match. He faked the injury to hit the stunner the week before. DQ on this one. After he tried to do the same thing repeatedly, and then Priest caught on to it, snapped, and refused to allow the referee to break them apart. So there you go. Dana Brooke, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. I feel so bad for Rhea Ripley. She does not deserve this. No. They did defeat Carmella, Tamina, and Nikki Ash in competition. We had RK Bro beating the Alpha Academy in the spelling bee. Mr. 4.0, Gable was the only man to misspell his word in this competition. This was so basically to end this whole thing, the academic challenge that these two teams have going on, this is going to be something that is going to carry on for
this is a 3-week program.
Yes, so there's 2 more weeks left of that, with the winner of each week getting to pick the competition the following week. We also, this followed up with a match of Orton and Gable,
which we didn't need. I didn't understand that.
We didn't, but we got it. This was one. The scooter of Matt Riddle was whacked on the back of Otis, which distracted Gable, which set him up to be RKO'd by Orton. So there you go. AJ Styles defeated Austin Theory. Vince McMahon, there's the reports that reportedly they want the coaches in NXT to look younger. They want them to dye their beards, dye their hair, all that. They want them to look young. Okay. This is a directive reportedly from Vince McMahon, the same man who is in his mid-70s now. He's given himself tons of TV time lately. Looks like a zombie.
Yes.
He ain't dying anything.
No, he's
not even tanning anymore. Remember, Vince used tan.
That's right, tan, yep.
He used to be on TV. He was tan. He's not even doing that anymore.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy of this man.
Well, the coaches aren't on TV. Maybe that, I have no idea. It's just a
even
strange
more
Vince-ism.
to my point of
Yes.
why do we need to go through making them look younger by dyeing shit if they're not going to be on TV?
I have no idea. Just to make everything look young and fresh in NXT, which isn't working.
Anyways, Vince told Theory earlier in the night that he needed to finish off Styles and return with a good selfie. Theory came up short in the end. He got blasted with a phenomenal forearm. So that's not over. Mm-hmm. My guess is Styles will be eliminated at the Rumble by Theory.
Potentially, yes.
Potentially, maybe. We have the Mysterios and Street Profits in action. The Mysterios won that after Mysterio pinned Montez Ford with the almighty
roll up.
And then your main event segment on this show, a match that will not be in the main event. I didn't understand why this needed to go on last, and I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about it. The birthday celebration of Maurice that her man, The Miz, threw for her. Mm-hmm. This was, of course, destroyed by the grit couple of Edge and Beth Phoenix. The Miz and Maurice, they had hired protection for the celebration, but they all got taken out by both Edge and Beth Phoenix. So that's how we ended.
Well, Beth and Edge, awesome. I mean, they did the heart attack. They did a 3D.
I love the 3D.
They were doing some pretty damn badass
Oh, man,
moves.
Did Beth get some elevation on that scoop?
And Miz, they did a good job with the big present. Oh, I didn't get it for you. You didn't get it for me. And they swerved the crowd.
And it was the brick.
Someone's in the box.
Yes.
Yes, they did. They did good with that. But, yeah, I mean, they're trying their damnedest to get this match over.
And I would say this, for a segment like that, say what you want about The Miz. I've never had an issue with him as a performer when he is with his wife, they make a tremendous heel tandem.
Yes. Yeah.
They were getting the crowd involved. The crowd was booing, but you could tell it was like legit. He's a heel.
Yes.
We boo. He's being obnoxious. His wife's hot.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's an ass.
He's an ass.
And
we hate him more for getting a woman like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
and
it
I think
was.
that adds more to his heat with the fact that he has the hot wife and you don't.
Yes.
And I think that's really cool. And I know they've got their family and Maurice can't be around forever, but I would love to see her around more for the benefit of his gimmick. I think when he's by himself, it's not the same.
No, it's not.
On to AEW news. Former WWE star Bully Ray, or Bubba Ray Dudley, he had reacted on Twitter from over the weekend as there were "fuck Bully Ray" chants that broke out at the start of the Jon Moxley match with Homicide at the World event for GCW's pay-per-view. This was Sunday night. The fans got louder. Kevin Gill acknowledged the chants on commentary and joined them by also saying, "Fuck Bully Ray." Bully was quoted. He quote tweeted the video and said that I knew my GCW faithful fans in New York City would never let me down, especially in my building. Music to my ears. Now, why were they saying fuck Bully Ray? Well, this was because of some comments that Bully Ray had made on Busted Open Radio that Thursday morning, the morning after Dynamite from Wednesday night of last week. This was comments that Bully said that he felt that Jon Moxley could have endeared himself, I guess we could say, to the fans by issuing an apology on AEW Dynamite. Now, this was met with a lot of pushback, as a lot of people just said this is a bad take. Now, I can go through the transcript real quick, and this was they were commenting on Jon Moxley, who opened up Dynamite 2 months off in rehab voluntarily, checked himself in the rehab. And these were Bully Ray's comments on Busted Open Radio. And I know, PJ, you had a perspective last week. Maybe it's changed. Maybe it's the same. Maybe you want to get a little bit more into it. But I'll go ahead and I'll read what Bully Ray had to say in regards to Jon Moxley's promo from AEW Dynamite. He said, quote, "I would have liked to have heard just a little bit of accountability from Jon. I understand the whole demons thing, and we always use the word demons as a creative word to get around the real issues, whether it's an alcohol issue, whether it's a drug issue. In Tommy Dreamer's case, it's an eating issue. Everybody has some kind of demon they have to get around. We have our demons. These demons got the best of Jon for a time period where he had to step away from AEW. I would have liked to have heard him say a bit of an apology to the AEW fans. You don't have to apologize to the boys, even though the boys do count on you, but any one of those guys and gals could have the same problems that you did. And trust me, I came up in an era where a slew of men and women had their demons. The fans expect a little bit more of you. What about the fans that bought tickets to see AEW and Jon Moxley while Jon was away taking care of his problems? I'm very happy that he left and took care of his problem. And he looked incredibly healthy last night, and I love everything that he said. I just would have loved to have heard a little bit of accountability. I don't know if I'm sorry is necessarily the right word, but maybe endear yourself a little bit to the crowd if you felt you let them down. This is coming from me, the hard ass of all hard asses. Personally, if it was me in the same situation, the first thing I would have said is, guys, I'm sorry I let you down. I think that would have been the proper thing to do. Now, this was met with some pushback online by people in the business. People such as Renee Paquette, his wife.
Well, yeah.
She was not very happy with this. She just said, real bad take, and even referenced how people have always referred to Devon as the better of the Dudleys. Yeah. Paige also chimed in. You got Mark Henry that chimed in. A lot of people unanimously judging or giving their opinion this was a bad take by Bully. I say that it was a bad take by Bully. I don't know if he meant this or not. He could have been trolling for all I know. But the accountability, I don't think PJ gets more accountable and responsible than a person going to his boss saying, I need time away. I need to be at home. I need to take care of this issue. I got a wife. I got a newborn daughter at home. I really need to tackle this issue before it really gets out of hand. I need to take care of me. I'm fine with being transparent. I want you to go ahead and put the release out there and everyone knows why I'm going away and for what reason.
Yeah.
This is a guy that, we've so many stories. Usually, unfortunately, worst case scenario, we've heard of stories in the wrestling business of people not asking for help at all. And then it becomes too late.
Yeah, too late.
Or, it takes for companies to threaten to release people in order to get them to go to rehab, stuff like that. I think in terms of the stories that we've heard over the years involving pro wrestlers, male or female, when it comes to rehab, getting any kind of help, this is probably the most responsible one of them all, of the stories that I've at least heard of in pro wrestling. He's probably not the first, but in terms of it being a big story, I thought that was a very responsible one. You're talking about accountability. I think this is a guy that was holding himself accountable. I thought for that reason that was a bad take on Bully Ray again. I don't know if this was just him trolling to get a reaction to promote Busted Open, to promote him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you seem to be on the thing. You thought that he was jolting the AEW fan base with the comments. You thought that it was definitely strategic in his approach.
I'm sure
and why
it was.
he discussed this.
Yes, because they're very easily offended by anything. You see, they took over a pay-per-view by saying these comments. Fuck Bully Ray gets more of them. I could see where Bully's coming from, though, because when Jeff Hardy has come back from things like this, one of the first things he says, I apologize. He has come out and said that to fans in the promo. He has said, I'm sorry for, this. And no one's, doing the accountability.
To be fair, this is also a scripted promo.
But it was real life.
Okay.
Yes. The promo on Wednesday night was not scripted. Obviously, the network was pissed by
with
it.
the F-bombs.
Yeah, so, John, my problem with the promo on Wednesday night was, like I said, my previous comments, I don't know. I was just concerned because he was all piss and vinegar, and I understand that's the character. I think people wanted to see more of him in it. Yeah. I think that's the only thing. I think maybe that's what Bully Ray was trying to get at, is maybe they just wanted a little more personal to him, but now he's going to run rough shot and kill everyone. Well, he's going to have to get some Glocks from Arn Anderson. I don't know, but that's I understand
as a fan,
that,
and I'm
but
sure I'm not the only one in this box. An apology was the furthest thing from what I was thinking in terms of Jon Moxley. I didn't expect it. I didn't
just
feel
say,
that I
I'm
needed
sorry,
it.
guys. I'm sorry, guys, that I've been gone, but now I'm here to kick ass. I'm coming back. I'm taking names instead of this whole. Now I'm back. I was fighting demons. Now I'm just going to kill everyone.
I
well,
guess.
Fuck.
Play devil's advocate to you.
Yeah.
Him saying just the simple words of "I'm sorry." What would that have done to the promo? Would that have made it any better just by saying two words? I don't think anyone would have given a fuck.
Because here he was talking about, I've got this mysterious demon that's chasing me and some ghosts and all this other shit. I think if there was a little bit of, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm now fucking here and I'm going to beat the shit out of everyone. That's basically what it was.
We were going to get to that anyway. That's what I'm saying. Like, him just saying, I'm sorry, what impact would that have, what different outcome?
The crowd, I think, would have felt more remorse for him, or they would have,
Well, we know he's not going to be turning heel anytime soon because of the fact of what he's gone through.
This company, who the hell knows? They'll force him to turn heel.
I don't think.
They have an idiot who thinks he's a baby face, and they're going to keep him a baby face, or he thinks he needs to be a baby face. He's floated
Even though he's saying heel shit in his promos. You're talking about Cody, right?
Yeah, and the guy that's faking his contract status. Yes, that guy.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
Well, we will, but
Cody Rhodes, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, reportedly now a free agent working without an AEW contract, and this was first reported back January 17th. As far as right now, up to the second, January 24th, he is still a free agent. Fightful Select, they first reported that his deal had expired at the very end of 2021, and he's been working in All Elite Wrestling without one ever since. And it is stated that AEW sources, there's some people that have known about this for the past several weeks. And it was also stated there were some originally reported contract lengths in AEW that differed from what they actually were. Cody's apparently being one of them. He talked about his future with Sports Illustrated. I'm sorry, but I can't even take Sports Illustrated's coverage of pro wrestling serious anyways. But he spoke to him about his future, and he said, quote, "As of now, my future is in AEW. AEW would be very strange without the core members of the Revolution. We all still talk. We all have this admiration for each other. I can't see myself anywhere else, and I'm very optimistic about what the future holds." He's not going anywhere.
No.
His wife's contracted by the company. His brother's contracted by the company.
The reality show is contracted by the company that
on
puts
the
on
network.
show.
I see this as nothing but something to add to a storyline to his reality show.
That's all it is.
I don't take this serious at all.
I don't either.
Now, someone who apparently is for sure leaving AEW that I always ask you, I thought Lio Rush was retiring.
Well, apparently he's accepting bookings.
He is now accepting new bookings after announcing that his AEW contract will expire on Valentine's Day, February 14th, and he will enter free agency.
Was this a 5-match deal he signed, like the Cardona contract? Or what?
Yeah, so Rush, the first time we saw him in AEW, that was actually during the Double or Nothing last year, 2021. He was the surprise Joker entry into the Casino Battle Royal. And then immediately after, not long after, he had announced his retirement after suffering an injury in that match. But then he reappeared on AEW later on during the year as leverage buyout.
Yes. Another business gimmick.
LBO Leo. We already had Matt Hardy on the roster doing the Money Matt team shit.
Yeah.
So he ended up taking to Twitter over the weekend to announce that his contract with the company was set to expire February 14th, and said he's going to be, of course, the free agent. He's accepting inquiries for bookings, and on Sunday he actually appeared at the World GCW event with a few members of the current AEW roster. Ruby Soho, of course, Jon Moxley was on that card. He was the replacement for Jonathan Gresham in a match. So, yeah, Lio Rush. I mean, it's look. This is a guy that clearly wants no lengthy commitment ties
to
anyone. Yeah, I mean, he wants his independence, and I think it's best for Lio Rush to just stay working the indies and taking the bookings. I just think he doesn't want to be tied down long term, and I think honestly it works in the favor. Also, it's a win-win for both parties. I think with AEW. That's one less you got to worry about as you're loading up this roster right now. Lio Rush, you don't want to be tied down long term and affect maybe some other bookings and dates. And he's been doing the Japan thing. He's been all over, and he's definitely talented. As long as he keeps that athletic ability and he bars away from injury, he's going to continue to get bookings. So, win-win. I mean, wish him the best. I don't know what else to say. Now, a lot of people are saying that a lot of this also came about that this could be a Tony Khan passive-aggressive, just letting the contract expire after Lio Rush went on Twitter to call his boss out for the Big Swole incident.
Yeah.
Not the best move in the world, I guess, to call your boss out and make it public.
Yeah, correct.
On a social media platform. So some people saying that could be just them just allowing to mutually part ways by way of letting the contract expire based on that whole incident. But he still also talks glowingly about Tony Khan. So I don't know, man. It's very back and forth. All I can say is with Lio Rush, wish him the best. So
if you're a promotion out there, I guess if you can get him for a show or two, that's good. Don't expect any long-term booking with him or storytelling. You do a show here or there, and if he can keep on making a living off that, that's fantastic for him. If that's the way he wants to keep going, good for him.
CM Punk was recently quoted, and he was chatting the concept of wrestler's court. Have you seen this story that popped up?
I saw little burbs of it, but I did not go into it, so I need your help.
Yeah, so he's on Twitter, and he was responding to a fan jokingly suggesting that CM Punk would wind up in wrestler's court for stealing Hangman Page's gimmick. And CM Punk made no bones about blasting the backstage wrestlers court.
Mm-hmm.
He said, quote, these are his comments. Wrestler court was the most insecure, small dick energy, average white man embarrassment to the wrestling business shit of all time. End quote.
All right.
Now, Wrestler's Court, this is something that is said to have, I want to say they said it was started by Dutch Mantel back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And this was also something that he brought into WWE the first time when he showed up as, I want to say, as Zeb Coulter.
Zeb Coulter, yep.
So, of course, if you're not very aware of this whole thing, Wrestler's Court, this very fake backroom judicial system thing they would do that was run by the wrestlers, usually respected badass guys that imposed their respect on others backstage, and they would settle issues within the locker room. And this was very well known and more prominent, I guess, as far as the stories in WWE. Usually Undertaker was serving as the judge in these cases, and former WWE champ JBL was serving as the prosecution usually. And so one of the wrestler courts, one of these stories that stick out in my mind, this was, of course, long before the Teddy Long Viagra case was told, was the wrestler's court that involved a young rookie Miz who ended up being banned from the locker room for eating a piece of chicken. So now, as Taker has talked about, the wrestler's court, it was more of a way to hold the guys and gals in the back accountable before it escalated to getting to Vince, before it escalated to maybe a problem spiraling out of control that could potentially be detrimental to people's careers. They decided to take it upon themselves before it went to a higher level where your job might be on the line to just nip it in the bud. And I guess in a roundabout, tough love way, I guess you could say, I guess that's what you'd call it, tough love or rallying or just that's your way of being there for the other talent in the back. So they've told the story about the Teddy Long Viagra. Teddy Long was getting Viagra damn near for free, but he was making a mad profit because he was selling it in the back to the boys.
Yes, it was.
So this was, they didn't feel that it was right that Teddy was getting the stash for free. Now, I don't know who snitched. I don't know if Teddy told on himself about getting this stuff for free, but he had a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy. He was getting it for free, and then he's popping it,
like
selling
$20
it.
a piece,
and still not paying the tolls when he was riding in the car with the acolytes, with the APA, apparently. I would have been. So those were CM Punk's thoughts about the wrestler's court. Now let's go ahead. Let's jump on AEW Rampage. Really wasn't much going down in AEW news-wise and tidbit-wise to really jump on. We can run down AEW Rampage for you. This started off with a match that I thought unnecessarily dragged.
Yeah.
We had Jon Moxley making his in-ring return facing Ethan Page. And I just thought that for returning Jon Moxley, and I get it, you're trying to give people a match, you're trying to keep them tuned in for as long as you can, the first segment. Page just too much offense in this.
Yeah.
And the crowd was clearly behind Moxley. But, I mean, there were just long stretches of this match where I thought Moxley was unnecessarily being dominated by Page in this match. I don't know what you thought.
No, Moxley should have.
He looked good in the ring. Physically, I've talked about it last week after our Dynamite review. I talked about, Moxley's definitely used that time to also, I think, he's lighter. He looks lighter. He looks good compared to he was a little bit more puffy before he took his hiatus, but he looks good. He looked good in the ring. Didn't really show any ring rust. So Moxley got the win. Page was looked like he was going to try to reach out for a handshake, which I guess would have been a okay moment. It would have been a little awkward being that he's still been associated with Dan Lambert and Scorpio Sky. But instead, Moxley gave him the paradigm shift. After the match, we see backstage he crosses paths with Bryan Danielson, who gives him a glare and a smirk. And it seems that we now know the first angle that Moxley's going to be in coming back. And I told you, I'm ready for it. I think the promos are going to be solid. I think the match itself, they don't even have to say a word. I think it's going to sell itself. You got two guys that right now they got nothing going on. Danielson's coming off the Hangman Page angle. Moxley, when we were before the hiatus, he was tagging along with Eddie Kingston. They were beating up on 2.0 and whoever that Tony Khan decided to book them against every week. So I think this is refreshing, actually. This seems like Moxley's first singles meaningful feud since, would you say, Omega? Since he lost the AEW title.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a role reversal because I think before the hiatus, obviously we heard Moxley was going to turn heel. I think they would have kept Danielson face then, and then you heard, Danielson took his spot and all that stuff. So it's kind of funny, and with the smirk and the jerk thing, but Danielson, he's right on right now. He's pretty hot. So I mean, this is the next big angle. In the match, you're right though that it went way too long. Moxley should have won this thing in a couple minutes.
This is the common theme in AEW, right? Whether it's Rampage or if it's Dynamite, we got big stars going an unnecessary amount of time with talent that they shouldn't be in the ring with that long.
And if you don't want Ethan Page to get beat, then don't book him in the match.
Don't book him in that match.
Put someone else in that spot where Moxley can run him over and beat him quick. That's all you needed for this.
Now, we got this match here. It was going to be Nick Jackson. It was originally supposed to be the Young Bucks taking on the team of Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta, but Romero, at the last second, he had to be pulled from this match. So we made this a singles match.
After all the promotion of how they were the best unknown
we ran
Japanese
the New Japan
team of all time.
We ran the footage, the video footage of that, building it up, which I will say they actually did a good job of at least trying to inform you of their history, but we didn't even get the damn
How
match.
the hell did he get pulled from the match? Because they do the taping at the ring.
Right. At the Dynamite.
How the hell did they
Dynamite.
not pull the goddamn ad then off of the... I don't know.
Anyways, we ended up with a match of Nick Jackson versus Trent Beretta. The best friends have been getting their ass beat by the Elite.
Yeah.
We continue to do this. And
Trent is like the most, I guess, badass best friend, would you say?
Yes.
I mean, the most best worker probably in that group. And... yeah.
No, it seems like this will not be ending anytime soon because Trent Beretta defeated Nick Jackson in this match. We had some near falls, and some of the crowd actually booed this match. I heard some boos. I did hear some boos. Beretta ended up kicking out of a 450 splash by Nick Jackson. I don't know. This match it wasn't awful, but it didn't really do much for me except for to ensure me that the best friends will continue to be feuding with the Elite.
Yeah, I guess that's what they continue it some more. And I don't know, maybe the crowd wasn't happy because they didn't get to see both Bucks in the match from what they were told they were going to watch. I don't know, but yeah, again, more best friends, Bucks, Elite. Super Elite, whatever the hell they're calling themselves now. I mean, too much. Just let's move on from this program.
Well, let's move on and get into must-see TV every week now on Rampage. Hook!
Yes.
Hook defeating
Hook.
Serpentico. And this
you see Hook has like the highest grossing t-shirt now of pro wrestling tees?
Yes, he has for the last several weeks.
4 matches.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yes. So, similar to WWE, AEW is now apparently promoting Hook with a tagline. He is now to be known as the cold-hearted, handsome devil, which I don't know who the fuck came up with that. But
just send Hook. That's all you need.
Yeah. Serpentico was pretty much done as soon as Hook's music came on. It's pretty much toast.
This match.
After this match, we got QT Marshall coming out to talk shit once again.
Oh, God.
If you're talking about someone I really don't need to see on AEW, for you, it's Sean Spears. For me, it's QT Marshall.
Yeah, I'm up there with you on this one, too.
Hook took care of QT real quick, too.
QT should be... In the other company, they say they want their trainers to be younger and not on camera. This company, their trainers are a little older and they're on camera. So they need to get the goddamn trainer back in the school and not on camera.
The main event. We had Anna Jay challenging the recently crowned first ever TBS champ, Jade Cargill.
Because that's right, Silver's put him up to that match. Yes. She's the number 2 ranked contender.
Yes, even though the belt was just finally awarded a couple of weeks ago, we've already got a ranking system for the belt. We got the backstage back and forth split screen between Mark Henry and Silver, who was with Anna Jay, and then Cargill and Mark
Sterling.
Smart
Mark, yeah.
Yes, so this match, Anna Jay, the best thing she had going in this match was before the match, pre-match, during the promo, where she referenced herself as TBS, that bitch slayer. So I thought it was actually a cute line. Anyways, this was a great opportunity to have Jade Cargill basically squash Anna Jay, but we didn't get that at all. Anna Jay lasted the longest of any of the solo competitors that So anyways, I thought that, again, now, and I should have known better by the amount of time they still had left on this show. I just felt that this match actually probably should have started off and could have had Jay look just like Hook.
Yeah.
Put Anna Jay down real quick.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. They went about a good 10, 11, maybe 12 minutes or so. John Silver was down there with Anna Jay. Anyways, fast forward, finishing sequence of this match, it was fine despite, both gals. I'll say they were fine together considering how green they both are.
Yeah, that's
it could have been a hell of a lot worse. I thought they gave it a great try. I thought they were just fine. Cargill ended up defeating Anna Jay though, with the 10 minutes that they were given. So there you go. That was how AEW Rampage ended.
Yeah, again, the formatting is weird. I understand because it comes on later at Friday night that you want to get your top stuff on right away. But I think with a returning Moxley in action, you could have saved that to the end and people would have stuck around. Again, they're not putting the big names in the main event focus, and I think they're losing a little shine because of that. That's just what I think sometimes when they kind of outthink themselves with this.
WWE Raw from earlier tonight, I would give this show a D. Ugh. I'm grading that off of the title picture, how they built that up, the go-home show. I just thought they were unnecessary. I thought the way they were done were just kind of dumb. I'd say a D+ for Raw. You gave it a grade of.
I'll go C- because there were 2 segments I liked with the RK Bro Academy Challenge and then the Miz thing. I know you didn't like it as much, but I liked how
I didn't like the placement of it. I didn't mind the segment.
I could see it's the last thing going off, getting you ready for the pay-per-view. Yeah, it should have been the weigh-in as your last thing, but yeah, their formatting was all fucked up.
Well, I'm glad that they didn't end the show with the weigh-in either. The way they ended it with Lesnar once again walking off with Lesnar with nothing to say.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't set the tone for wrestling shows this week.
I hope not.
So there you go.
I mean, they seem to I want to give them credit because day one they rebounded. They had a great pay-per-view. After leading in, it was kind of lackluster. So I'm hoping with the Rumble, it's going to lead in better than these go-home shows.
Well, let us know what you thought of those shows. Leave some comments. Like and subscribe, of course, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Hit us up on YouTube as well. Social media, we'll follow back at Bush League MS Pod. We'll be back at you here in the next couple of nights with AEW Dynamite reviews. So, Slade,
PJ,
we're the Bush League Mud Show. We'll talk to you later.